All right. Welcome to the 290 Mo podcast. I appreciate your time. If you could, introduce yourself and my viewers and listeners.
What's up, y'all? It's Noor. I'm from Chicago. My Instagram is music by Noor, Noor. I'm a hip hop pop artist, just trying to shine the light to the Chicago and beyond.
And I think I asked you this, but you know what I'm saying? It's been a while since we sat down. But why you trying to shine a light, man? It's a lot of other things you could be doing. Man.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I mean, well, once again, my name means Noor. Or my name is Noor. It means light, right? It means luminous, divine light. So my goal is to shine my light into the city, into anywhere that I can, just because there's a lot of darkness out there. There's a lot of darkness I faced, and I want to make sure to shine the light on that too.
So what you been working on lately, man? What's going on with you?
Ooh, I mean, it's been like what? At least
I
like
you doing a couple different things too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing some modeling, I've been doing some acting, I've been doing a lot of singing, hip hop as usual. I just came back from Texas, performed at the GRB Convention Center.
You ain't stay for South by Southwest?
I went back in 2022, and that was expensive, bro.
Oh yeah.
That just the ticket alone, just to be there for the music badge is $1,300. I mean, unless you get it like a year before, then it could be $400. But that's plus the flight, plus the Airbnb, plus the food. Man, that's like a whole thing right there. But the next time I want to go to South by is when I get invited down to perform. I think that's the best time to go again.
So you said modeling too? What how you getting the modeling, man? What's the
We got
is it serious modeling? Is it runway modeling? Is it
not like runway modeling? It's more so just there's any opportunities for photographers to hit me up, to do shoots. Or I was in this one commercial for for like a luxury, chauffeur service. So I did that. Just things here and there, nothing too crazy. Just trying to get my feet wet a little bit. When it comes to that, I really been focused on the music end. Obviously, I mean, I got a few tracks I've been making since we last talked. When was I here? Like last year and a half ago.
I think Running just came out.
So we talking like January 2023.
That's what it was.
Yeah, almost a year and a half ago. Then, whew, yeah, it's been a while. I mean, I've been trying to it'll come up with some heat after that too.
Hey, time fly when you got kids, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like you was here 6 months ago, man.
Right. Yeah, I'm not that stage of my life yet, but I'm about to put a ring in my girl's finger soon enough, though. You know what I'm saying? It's getting to that point. She already knows, though.
Baby comes right up.
Yeah. We finna travel and do everything we can before we have kids. That's for sure. I'm trying to make sure we set financially. You know how that goes. Trying to provide and all that stuff.
You're gonna have to do it all over again, though, because then now you're gonna have to take the kids traveling.
Yeah. No, it's true. You're gonna be 3-4 years old. Be like, we want to go to Disney. Yeah, we got Disney money. We gonna find out. We go. Let me see if I blow up right quick. You know what I'm saying?
So it sounds like you got things pretty much planned out, man. So
as much as you can.
How has everything been going to plan? Like, has there been any bumps in the road since we last?
There's always bumps in the road. I feel like from when we last met, from when we last talked about everything, I think I've had 3 different jobs.
What?
Oh yeah,
that's a lot of W-2.
Yeah, you're telling me my accountant out here doing over everything.
I still
I
ain't
swear to
filed
God.
taxes waiting on a W-2.
Yeah, man, I swear. I mean, I got my refund. I was surprised I didn't owe money. I was like, oh yes. But this economy's garbage. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh yeah, you know that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Like I said, I've had 3 jobs. I went to Morocco last year, like on a self-discovery journey. I could talk more about that later on too. I went to.
You don't have to, cause where the fuck is Morocco?
Man, Morocco's it's in West Africa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like 2 countries above Senegal. All that like that area, right?
I bet.
But I had a whole journey, like self-discovery journey. Then I started getting back onto the music. Started really, trying to, understand myself even more. So I know we talked a little bit more about that before last year, but I feel like we're always on a journey to find ourselves, and there's always going to be a lot of healing involved. And sometimes the places you're at, sometimes the places you're working at, make you remain stagnant, right? And then you can't really evolve yourself in that current environment. You just have to move forward and move on to something that makes more sense for you at that moment, right? Hence changing the job so much. I realized 9 to 5 does not work for me at all. I can't do it.
That was the conclusion. It wasn't like I got to find another because
this is what happens. This is what happens.
You was trying to give it the hardest you could.
So what happened was I believe I was working at Bank of America when I last talked to you. I quit that job.
We was talk. I remember we talked about the mall. We talked.
Oh yeah, that was years. That we were talking about like 2018.
Oh yeah, you probably
for
just
that.
told
Yeah,
that
yeah,
story.
Yeah, I just told
Okay.
that story. Yeah, I used to like 2019. I started working at PNC Bank. I was a banker. Did great with that. Top 5 in the market. All that
Taking
stuff.
$100 a week.
Yeah. You got PNC?
Huh?
You got PNC?
No, I don't got PNC.
Oh.
I'm sure.
I mean, I'm not gonna say.
I just know I'd be taking if I worked at a bank, I'd be taking like $100 a week.
They go find out. They go find out
if I
real
take
quick.
$100 a
They balance that every day.
What about 50 a week?
Man, if you short $25, $50, you're gonna have a write up on your end. If you get more like a certain amount of write ups, you're out.
Okay.
As a banker, like you don't. Some positions at different banks, you're also a teller, but bankers more so like you're opening up accounts, talking to like the clients on financial guidance, stuff like that. So that's really what I did. I did Bank of America because I didn't feel like PNC was treating me right. They didn't want to give me a raise. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I went to Bank of America. Bank of America, worked there for like 6 months. Had another opportunity at this one place called Critical Mass as a project coordinator. Different like industry. It was more so on the marketing side of things. Got that job. Told them I had ADHD. After should not have told them I have ADHD because there's a whole lot of weird things happening after that. That's all I can say. I didn't sign an NDA, so I can't talk more on it. But what's it called? They said I was underperforming, even though there's a whole lot of things behind that didn't allow me to perform how I was supposed to perform, and then I got fired. But this is the thing. I took that as a blessing because for so long, I was stuck in this 9 to 5 because I had to financially support my mom because she had 2 back-to-back strokes. Right when I was about to graduate college, right? So that's why I even got into banking because it was a job I needed to pay the bills, right? So I was finally able to collect unemployment, right? I had that going for me, and I took that as like a reroute in my life. I was like, I don't need to worry about bills anymore, or I don't need to worry about working a 9 to 5 in order to pay the bills because I have this cushion, at least for 6 months, where I can rely on unemployment, do what I need to do, and hopefully rebuild from there. So what I've been doing was I interned at like a music studio for about 4 months. Did a lot of freelancing. Worked at this like.
You say you turned it into a music studio?
No. I interned.
Okay.
Yeah, I interned at a music studio in downtown, called LSD Studios. I did that for quite some time on the music business side, like kind of like an A&R role in a way, like helping with social media or like things in admin stuff while at the studio, a lot of like paying your dues, like mopping and cleaning and stuff like that, and I was with it, like it's cool, right? Sure. I just want to build the connections.
Wait. I'm not mopping shit.
Well, they're going to make you do that as an intern, bro. That's just what happens.
I can understand if it was one of like clean the equipment, you know what I'm saying? Well, I don't know.
Clean equipment. You want to clean 5 figures worth of speakers
make me
and
do something that's relative to the job. Like give me the worst job that's relative to the job. Don't give me a different. I didn't come here to be a janitor.
Well, I mean, hey, look, I knew what I was getting into.
I feel you though. Right.
It was just, that was one part of the job, right? It wasn't just that. It was like also running events and being part of that, right? Like I met a lot of people. They had like music conferences with like people from Atlantic Records and Interscope. So it was like meeting a lot of industry professionals and being involved in those type of conversations. And that was nice, right? Building those relationships. And hey, if you're mopping and you're creating a good conversation with people, they're gonna wonder what you're about, right? So it's really all about you, right? All about your authenticity, and people will naturally be, will naturally be attracted to you and be like, hey, like what do you do? Like you're not just someone who mops here. Like what's your story? And that's when you can have a chance to really, tell the people that matter who you are, right? Especially if they're industry execs and you're an artist yourself. I'm like, hey, this is what I do.
True.
But I did that for quite some time. I worked at a silent like disco headphones.
Silent disco.
Like those silent parties with those headphones?
I know, I'm familiar, but silent disco, that's
what they call it, right? Like the silent discos. That's how it first began. And that was called silent parties.
I was just like certain music, I couldn't imagine like a silent disco.
No, it was trap. It was definitely trap, hip hop, R&B, all that kind of vibe. But I was like unloading the headphones and giving it to people, scanning the tickets. I did that for some time. I just did a whole bunch of freelance stuff. I worked on social media for a few venues. Just doing anything I can that kind of caters to the music business or like the entertainment side of things, digital marketing, media, stuff like that. I'm still doing that now. I'm still doing social media for other places. Like I'm working on a restaurant right now, like drafting of proposals and stuff like that, or just trying to get my name out there more. But it's a lot of it's a very big pivot from doing a 9 to 5. I get to work out like 2 hours a day every day in the afternoons. I don't have to wake up at 7:30 in the morning, get ready for work, have a 10-hour day, come back at 6:30, and then be so tired that you can't do anything else, like how other people do, right? Like I don't have to work 40 hours a week anymore. Granted, I got a lot of side hustles, like, hey, I'm doing Uber in the weekends. That, shit, that's like $500 a week right there for like 16 hours. That's like $30 an hour. More than banking, I'll tell you that,
For real?
Oh man, if you're a banker, you get paid $22, $23.
That's why I'm taking $100 a day a week.
That's right.
That's exactly why,
bro. That's why. Hey man, so, hey look, when you open that drawer, you be seeing like you be seeing stacks.
Nah,
you're like, damn.
I just never, you know what I'm saying?
What if?
I just want to do a job like that. Like people like waiters, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like
it's
like just me personally, I'd be like, hey, come rob me, bro.
No, for real. We'll split it 50-50. Don't worry about it.
You can hit me with the guns.
No, for no way.
As I said, if I ever drove an armored
shit.
truck, I'll just stage it. Like, y'all come rob me.
Oh my.
Somebody shoot me in the leg.
No. It's like get that disability too, low key.
Right. Get this right.
Oh, yeah, get a win-win situation right there.
You
Just make sure you hit non-vital part. That they'll be fine.
Get a purple heart and shit.
Oh no.
But no, man. So
it's crazy. 22, 23 an hour for a banker, man.
But I want to ask you also about
up?
being a banker, man. I had saw like an article not too long ago where
Yeah.
it was like basically like banks was giving out loans like based on like demographics, like race and other stuff and other factors besides, you know what I'm saying, your credit score. Is there any truth to that? Do you know anything?
Now, at least in the like personal banking side, is this like you have your, let's say you're my client, right? You come over, you want to have a loan, like an auto loan, personal loan, whatever it is, right? At least with me personally, I'm not going to care about demographic, nor am I going to have any biases. In fact, a lot of banks, at least compliance-wise, they're like, hey, you can't, it's illegal to judge people based on color of their skin or what they look
illegal.
like, right? But, right, I don't know what they're doing on the back end, right? I only know is I'm, processing an application. Sometimes it's an automatic approval. Sometimes it's not up to you. Denial. Right, it's not up to me, right? I'm just one putting shit on the keyboard. Like, all right, this is what your income is. This is what your credit score, like, not even your credit score. This is what your income is. This is like, are you renting? Do you have a mortgage? What's your job? Right? Blah 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 blah. So, at least on my end, I have no idea. But I don't doubt there could be some foul play going on, right? I mean, you've seen there's a bunch of articles about that too, right? Like about how, like a ton of banks, you see like different things.
And it's not just banking; it's a lot of industries. You know what I'm saying? Where minorities get the short end of the stick.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to ask you because you was, within the bank.
I'll say this, like it's really, I have had instances where I've seen other people, other people who work at the bank, definitely have like a different attitude when it comes to different demographics, especially towards black and brown people, for sure. I definitely see it, and like other coworkers who aren't with that, obviously the majority, they're like, what the fuck was wrong with this person, right? And you can only do so much when it comes to like talking to HR or talking to your manager. Like sometimes it might not even go up the ladder because it's hush hush, right? But like there's a lot of instances where you see like I remember this is one time. There's this person who came up to me, or like there's this person trying to like do a transaction at like the teller side, and I was just I was at the banker side, on the main floor, and like they're just like really loud about like some shit went down. I don't know what altercation there was between one of the tellers and the client, but it was just like, oh, she's being racist, blah 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 blah, and then like he was looking at me, like, this bitch racist, like the eye contact, like she's like from one minority to another,
a racist motherfucker.
Yeah, she racist, and I'm like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do about it, bro? Like, like other than this shit I've already talked about with like, upper management or whatever, right? There's only so much you can do, right? But it does take the individual, right? It really takes, it's really about if you see something, say something, right? And then, whatever happens after that's outside of your control, right? You can't, sometimes you might get, sometimes you might, sometimes it might not work out where like they do anything about it. Sometimes it is, right? I have no idea.
Yeah.
But at least, like I said, there are a bunch of articles about, or a bunch of news things about like certain banks having like being sued for being racist, right? Or having racist encounters with certain individuals. And as much as banks want to be like, oh,
I think
we're
they called
pluralistic.
the cops on they like called the police on Kendrick Lamar song. He tried to take like it was a Kendrick Lamar or Michael B. Jordan. They tried to take like $1 million out or something.
I think it was Michael B. Jordan,
and they called.
Or it was a director. It was director for Wakanda.
It was
It was a director for Wakanda.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's the one I was thinking of when I was talking about the articles. It was director for Wakanda, and correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, he tried to take out a bunch of money, and they're like, no, and he was like, why? And granted, they're like, I forgot how the whole altercation went, because people did talk about that within the banking industry. It was a topic of conversation, like, hey, we shouldn't be doing this type of shit, right? I forgot what it was, but normally if you're trying to take out like more than $5,000, you can't. Like the bank doesn't even have like, because there's so many customers coming in per day, like we only have a finite amount of money in the vault, and we can only have a certain amount of money in our drawers. And of course we can go get some more, but like if someone's coming in asking for 10,000, and another person comes in asking for 10,000, and another person comes in asking for another 10,000, you're not gonna have any money at the end of the day. You won't be able to give out as much as you can. So usually you have to like call the bank and let them know like a few days in advance, like, oh, I want to withdraw $20,000 from my account, right? And usually they're able to do it within like 5 to 7 business days, depending on the bank, and then you'll be able to do it no problem, right? But I don't think it was a matter of that. I don't think it was a matter of that particular instance, because I believe that he had called prior that one director. I think that was just a racial encounter or whatever it was. But like I said, like there was a lawsuit, I believe, and there was media coverage behind that too.
So, and then I also want to ask you before we move on, is from the other side, you know what I'm saying? Now,
like from my perspective.
From your perspective, like you're, you know what I'm saying, not the average American, you know what I'm saying, not blonde hair, blue eyes, but
sure.
You may have somebody come in with a complex, you know what I'm saying, with that complex, and they gotta ask you for money. You ever deal with that situation,
like people who like got chip on their shoulder?
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they like, okay, I'm gonna just be blunt. There's too many more podcasts.
Yeah,
like a white person gotta ask you for a loan. He like gotta ask him for money.
Oh, like coming to me like, oh, I gotta ask this brown person.
Yeah.
Like,
give you a hard time or just your coworkers or.
Well, my coworkers, not so much. Like I said, there was one coworker that I remember. She was just like, oh, this is during the pandemic. I remember she was just like, oh, some racist ass shit. It was just like, if this is during Black Lives Matter. This is when Black Lives Matter was really going crazy.
Lawsuit.
No, for real. And it was just like, oh, if there's a group, she verbatim said, if I see a group of black people walking on one side of the street, I will cross the street.
Me too.
Well, we're just perpetuating that.
If I don't got my pipe, me too. It depends. If I can feel like the vibe, but during Black Lives Matter, if I was a white person, I would too.
Man,
I don't think shit like that racist though. I don't think shit like that racist.
Why do you?
That's not racist.
How is that not racist, bro?
Because
if it's a group of white people walking, it's no problem.
I'm gonna move too. I'm gonna move too.
Well, I guess it
depends on the vibe. You know what I'm saying? If they coming down with flags saying hoorah, I'm gonna walk down. But if they doing like Black Lives Matter when the crowds was a little,
no, she was just talking about black people in general, not even like during like a protest.
Oh yeah.
It was just like if she's walking down a street.
Oh yeah.
And she sees a few black people come down the street.
That's racist.
She's like, I'm gonna cross the street.
That's racist.
I'm gonna feel unsafe, is what she said.
I thought you were saying like during.
No, not during not in a protest. Not in a protest. Okay. I'm talking about when Black Lives Matter was a topic of conversation.
Right, yeah.
And like, she was like, oh, I don't believe in Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Say, if I saw them white boys marching down with their flags and shit, I'm moving too. Goddamn it. Yeah, I go ahead.
it was just like, oh, black people have is the same as white people, blah 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 blah. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, there's a whole like she was so it was like so non-existent. Like she didn't know how or she didn't want to believe the systemic roots of everything that has perpetuated people of color and their downfall, right? And like we've heard of Black Wall Street, how that went. We heard how when black people are prospering, whatever entities,
Boom, cocaine.
right? Yeah, exactly. Whatever entities will then try to make sure,
all the way from Colombia.
right, right. Like they'll do whatever they can to make people of color docile, right? Especially people of color. If they can save the white folk, they will. But if they won't, then they'll just become white trash, right? And they'll just leave them off to the side too.
Sometimes they have casualties and they try to hurry up and fix it. Like
Yeah.
the one right now they got, and I'm not laughing at somebody
Sure.
death or anything, but
Sure.
the fentanyl, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
they started it. Now we got a whole bunch of
whole epidemic
white
now.
people, what I'm saying, falling over. Now it's a war on drugs all over again. You know what I'm saying, but.
I remember people were trying to sell dab pens, and like there's like a whole epidemic. There's fentanyl in the dab pens. Like if you got it from a plug, yeah, especially during the pandemic. Too.
I heard like the myth about fentanyl and weed. Well, I know that's.
I mean, like I don't know who would want to put fentanyl. Wow,
like why do you want to get that high? Like dabs is all.
No, like it would be laced. Like they wouldn't know.
Oh, that's
like people who would buy wouldn't know, and then they would die.
Right, so somebody's trying to catch a murder case.
Right.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, basically.
That's all that is.
Or like they were just trying to get like shit for cheap, and then they didn't like, and it was laced with some shit. Right. But like, who the hell gets dabs laced with fentanyl like that? Wow, like plug wise, like who's your wholesaler, man? What the fuck? Like, just get some premium shit to sell that. Like you'll have a better customer base. I'm telling you, like,
man,
what I'm saying. But when it comes to the banking stuff, it is every customer's experience will be dependent on the person that's servicing them, and of course the banks will do whatever they can to train people in terms of compliance and like, hey, don't be racist, right? Be a nice individual. Here's the things you need to do if you suspect fraud. Here's the things you need to do if a customer is being rude to you. Here's the proper procedures for A, B, C, D all the way through Z, right? For whatever situation there is. Now, if a person doesn't follow that, then that's on them, right? And there are instances where they don't, right? And I can't speak on that. Like I try to, I'm very much by the rules, right? Unless unless I fucks with you like that, if I really see you're down bad, or like I will go with the extra mile, right, to help out whatever way I can. Whether that's like looking at your monthly expenses, and be like, all right, this is like taking all the time to be like, oh, let me create a budget for you. Let me see what I can do for you, along with if it makes sense to open up a credit card or open up an account or whatever it is, right? At the end of the day, being a banker is a glorified salesperson, honestly. That's all it is. There's goals, quotas, metrics, all that stuff.
With the rules and the procedures, I know I said that was the last one about banking, but I can't let this one go. In like the myth on the street, I don't know if it's a myth, and you can clear this up. On the streets is like, if you rob a bank, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They have to comply.
Yeah.
So don't use a weapon, because
right.
And that's armed robbery. So just go to the note and they have to comply.
We are trained to not do anything. If you come in with a note saying give me all the money in your drawer, we have to comply, because just based on safety, we don't want to escalate anything, right? That's why there's cameras. That's why there's like a height chart on the door. Right, so at least if police come, and you can have the description, like this person was this tall. That's why there's rules saying you can't have sunglasses or masks on, right? Until the pandemic happened, then people wore masks, obviously, right? But if you're wearing a ski mask or some shit, some sunglasses, they're gonna ask you to take that shit off.
So no trick gadgets, no ink money, no trackers, no red silent button alarms, none of that.
Yeah, of course you got. Of course you have alarms and stuff, right? Like you whatever. Like there's all of that.
Like,
all that's there. All that's there. We have alarms. We have those buttons on every station, every desk, every teller station as well. And banks have set it up where you can get caught very quickly. Where like the police will come immediately once that bell is once that alarm is rung.
Yeah, that's a Fed case, man. But
you don't want
to. You get it's a pretty high number of bank robberies that get away like successful. Like
they're not getting that much though. Is the thing, right?
Yeah,
Like,
but
'cause
just
like I said,
for 2024, 2023, I
Yeah.
watch a lot of news and I just hear like, yeah, somebody got away with a bank, and they never disclose how much money they got away with on news.
it's probably less than $10,000.
shit. That's
It's nothing.
it's
It's not worth it to rob a bank.
it's it's a lot when you got negative 6,000.
Yes, but I mean, like opportunity cost, right? Like, at that point,
And
you just
that's why they
scam
do
somebody
it. That's why they
for
do
10
it.
bands instead
You
of
gotta think
robbing a
about it.
bank.
They think about it like this. I don't got nowhere to live. I ain't got
Yeah.
nothing to eat. You know what I'm saying? If I don't get away with it,
Yeah.
at least I'm gonna go to jail and I'm gonna have somewhere to sleep, somewhere to eat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
If it's in that position where you absolutely need to rob a bank,
don't be giving us no tips now.
No, I'm not give no tips. I can understand, right? I have empathy towards people who are like, hey, I'm in this position where whether you put yourself in or not, whether it's systemic or whether it's a mix of both or whatever it may be, you're in this position and you feel like the only way you can get out of it is by robbing a bank. I can't stop you. You do what you got to do. Just know that if you get caught, that's like a good 10, 15 plus years. Hey, free food, free medical care, whatever. That's
Make sure
cool.
you use a note. Anybody pass you a note?
Well, fingerprints. Don't forget, like you
yeah,
gotta,
sure.
like there's ways, right? Like
Has
that,
anybody ever passed you a note?
no,
Okay.
I've never gotten robbed. Our bank has never gotten robbed. At least when I was there. At least it's much more rare than you think. Like, of course, we get emails, right, saying like, "Oh, this bank was robbed. Like, be on the lookout or close early," because they're in your area. Like, blah 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 blah. So obviously, and it's obviously safety reasons, right? Like, someone could very well have a gun, right, or like they could really escalate things if they really wanted to. And even if people are complying, right? So it's more so a matter of safety for the people who are there at the end of the day, because motherfucker bankers and tellers ain't making shit neither. Like we're in the position where we need to rob the banks too, low key, bro.
I'd be like, hey, come rob me.
Like
bro.
I said, bankers, 22, 23 an hour, maybe 25 an hour if you're lucky, right? That's less than 50K a year.
You got them count too much money not to make that. I'm sure.
Yeah, tellers are worse. It's like 18, 19 bucks an hour. I can go to Wendy's for $15 an hour, $16 an hour nowadays, bro.
Then in a few years, you're gonna be at 20.
Yeah.
Sure, if you stay there a few years.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then you get your, of course you have your bonuses as a banker, but then, some banks might try to take away some bonuses, which they have. They might try to increase goals. So you have to work harder or longer to get towards those goals. I'm not speaking on any specific bank because I ain't trying to get sued. And this is my opinion at the end of the day. But, like that's a whole U.S. thing where everyone's just getting underpaid, prices are increasing, and people are just living check to check. That's a U.S. thing. Anywhere outside the U.S. for the most part is not like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why and this is a good segue. I had my self-discovery journey in Morocco. So when I had gotten fired, when I had got my unemployment, I was traveling. I sued. Well, I didn't sue. I negotiated my severance with that one company that I got fired from. Got a little bit of a bag, and I was like, you know what? Let me put this towards. I needed the
Cocaine.
no. No, not in Morocco, but let me just put this towards I just need to get the fuck out. I just needed to take a break off of everything. I needed to just reset myself. I gained 20 pounds in those 6 months that I was there. It was horrible. I was just eating myself.
What you eating?
Everything and anything, bro. I was just getting stoned every day because I was just like, I don't want to deal with this. No, not in Morocco. At my job. At the job where I was like, I have ADHD, and then they just switched up on me. Like, I was just treated like garbage from my management. I swear to God. In my opinion, I was treated like garbage. But honestly, like I said, my self-discovery journey in Morocco, I was there for 2 weeks, in June. It was beautiful. I loved it. I really found how to be myself when you're in a different country, when you're with different people. It's more so, it's a lot different. You have a clean slate. You're able to be who you truly are. And I forgot who I truly was. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? I forgot who I truly was. And when I came to Morocco, it was like a switch in my mind, right? I was like, all right, I'm able to be who I've always been, right? I'm able to be fully authentic. And when I came back to the United States, I was like, this is how I'm going to be from here on out. I'm not going to give a fuck about the people or whatever their perceptions are of me. I'm not gonna give a fuck. I'm not gonna be a people pleaser anymore. I'm not gonna appease people for the sake of wanting them to like me. I'm not gonna, in any aspect, right? If I'm in the music industry, I'm not gonna like be kissing ass. I'm not going to, if you like me for who I am, great. If not, you can kindly go fuck off, right? That's all it is at the end of the day. It's not a matter of me being an asshole, but it's me standing my ground, having my boundaries, and not folding for anyone because if I say something that could be unconventional, if I say something that's that could be mean, even though it's just facts and authentic, then they might see me a different type of way. And at that point, I'd rather be myself and have my inner peace than appease someone else for the hope that they might like me and bring me other connections in the future. I'd rather you like me for who I am, and then I get the connections that way, and I get the opportunities that way, than me being fake, or me being too much of a people pleaser, and then me being walked all over because people think they can just do that. And that's what that's what I discovered back in Morocco. I was like, I'm confident as fuck. I didn't have that when I was in the United States. Like I've always had that in me, right?
How long were you gone?
2 weeks.
Morocco?
2 weeks.
Did you go alone?
I went alone, yeah. And you have like the tour group I went with is called G Adventures. Highly recommend it. You get like people from all around the world. It's like a group of 14 people. I had people there. Like there's people from Thailand, Scotland, all parts of Europe.
Is it an Arabic country? Or is
Yeah.
it African?
So it's an African country, but it's still part of the Middle East. I believe it's a Muslim country, Muslim majority country. They were conquered by the French way back when, so they speak French and Arabic. Most of the people there speak 2 languages, and a decent amount also speak English too. So it depends on where you go, but it's very it's beautiful. I love it. It's they got like the Atlas Mountains, and bro, there's weed everywhere in those mountains. They're just naturally grown there. It's just like cannabis plants everywhere. Crazy.
Compare day-to-day in Morocco to America.
It really depends on where you are in Morocco. Let's say you're in Marrakesh, which is like one of the major cities in Morocco. It's kind of like, or Casablanca. It's like it's
Modern.
more modernized, right? There's still a lot, like not as like modernized as like downtown Chicago or downtown LA, but like you got clubs there. Like they got some poppin' ass clubs there. It's very much a tourist kind of city. There's still a lot of rules, rules and regulations in the sense of like, you shouldn't be dressing inappropriately. Like, you shouldn't be having like just like a tank top and short shorts. Of course, people do dress that way if they're tourists, right? But it's like more frowned upon, right? Even like our tour guy was like, oh, try to wear like your, if you have a tank top on, even for guys, like if I have this on, wear like another, like something over it, like a shirt that has like a short sleeve if possible. If not, then that's for whatever, they know you're a tourist, it's fine. But like, it's still kind of like, they're going to feel some type of way depending on, the people, because it is more of a, not conservative country, right? It's more so like that's just the religion, right? You just want to dress more modestly in that sense. But like when you're in Monte Cristo, one of the biggest clubs, that shit goes out the window. You know what I'm saying? Like that shit, upstairs is prostitutes everywhere. It's just like a whole, they got drugs and all that shit. It's crazy. It's like 2 different sides. It's like 2 different sides. It's insane, right? But let's say you're in the mountains and you're with the local people, then it's very much more rural. Like you're just like hiking up a mountain. You see like 20 goats on your left side. You see a whole fucking sea of weed on the right side that's just growing. You just see like one of the tour guys just take the weed, break it up, and the fucking oil it up on his hands. Like, oh yeah, we use this for medicine, but we smoke it too. Literally, that's what one of the tour guys said. I was like, that's fucking funny as hell.
I would have said me too.
Yeah, no, for real. I was like, yeah, me too. I was like, let me get this real quick. No, I was like, it wasn't. The buds weren't there, but it was just like it was still growing, and I was like, damn, I wish I was here at the right time of season. But like even alcohol, for example, is like more rare, right? Like you have to like, it's more of a limited selection. It is a Muslim country, so like if you're Muslim and you get alcohol, it's more frowned upon for sure. But if you're a tourist, it's what that's who they're selling it to, right? They're selling it to the people who are tourists because they know they're gonna make money that way. They're gonna charge you American prices for that type of shit too. But if it's like, prices wise too, like if you go to Morocco with the US dollar, you're getting like 10 times your money. So like if you buy like this jacket, I got this from Morocco. This suede jacket I got from the tannery from Morocco, where like they make all the designer brands. You just get that shit for wholesale. This would have costed me like, if I bought this here, this would have been at least $1,000, $1,500 easily. You know how much I got it for there? $200. Easy, bro. And of course, you got a bargain. Like I got a
Right,
leather
right.
jacket and I got the suede jacket. They try to sell that shit to me for like $800. I got that down to 500 for both of them. And look at this, bro. Look at the inside of this, man. This
That's what
shit,
he
this
said.
shit nice.
They would have put a Gucci symbol or something on that shit,
That's all they gotta do.
$5,000.
And that's all they gotta do. You put Gucci on here and it's $5,000. Like they sell to those big brands. They buy it because that tannery is one of the biggest tanneries in the world. So they get like in the leather. Oh my god, I was considering wearing my blue leather jacket today, and it was like it's soft as silk. So nice, so nice.
Man.
I could sell that here for like at least 2 bands, no problem.
So this is a topic I wanted to get into. And I believe you had some comments that you had to clarify or something. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying, as far as like the conflict going on with Palestine. And
Ah, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Is how familiar are you with the situation? Is it getting any better? You know what I'm saying? I've seen every trying now. Americans trying
Yeah.
to get aid after y'all was backing them up. It was like, what you think was gonna happen?
Yeah.
But
I'll say this. So when I was in Columbia College, I took a class called the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Me originally, I truly thought it was Muslims versus Jews. Not at all. It's never been that way. It's always been territory. It's always been imperialism from Europe, and of course America being involved in that too. And it starting from World War One. Palestine was part of the Ottoman Empire. Ottoman Empire stretched basically almost all of the Middle East. Once World War One happened, the Ottoman Empire fell. The French and the British took over all that land, including Morocco, right? Like including Turkey and Palestine and all that stuff. Palestine then became an international zone because Jerusalem was there as well. And during that time, from 1918 to like 1930s, there was a lot of hate towards Jewish people in Eastern and Western Europe. And there was a lot of talks of that. During this time as well, there's a member of like Parliament or something from Britain. His name's Balfour. He made something called the Balfour Declaration, basically
like
stating,
somebody of Harry Potter.
no, for real. He basically stated in a letter saying like, hey, Jewish people should have the right of land. These are kind of like made an open letters like Jewish people should have the right of land. And I forget exactly what it said, so don't quote me on it exactly, but I believe he was kind of suggesting, maybe having Palestine as that. I don't remember, so don't quote me on that second part, but he definitely talked about Jewish people having their own land because they were being prosecuted, which is, hey, that's fair. I understand, makes sense, right? And then World War II started. Hitler came into power. During that time, there was also a organization called the World Zionist Organization. One of the main members wanted to take all the Jewish people into like a Spanish country. Funny enough, something like Venezuela or Brazil or wherever, like in those regions, maybe even Portugal. And one of the leaders of those countries were more than willing to have them come. There's like a plot of land for them that they were able to go to. But one of the other main leaders were like, no, we want to have Palestine because that is our homeland. That is our, that's where the Messiah was, blah, 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 blah. The caveat of that, though, is that to be a Zionist is to be an ethnic Jewish person, not a religious Jewish person. So, and what that means is to be a Jew is now an ethnicity rather than a religion. Now, ethnicity is like me being like, hey, I'm from Pakistan. Like, my ethnicity is Pakistani and Indian, right? I'm born here, but my parents are from Pakistan, India, so I'm Pakistani Indian. That's my ethnicity, right? I don't say my ethnicity is Muslim. That doesn't make sense. That's a religion. That's a belief system that you have, right? So, at least in my opinion, right? So, when the Zionists then were like, oh, we are Jewish, we are an ethnicity, when that came to be, and once it was accepted, they were then able to have their cake and eat it too. If you were disagreeing with what their topics were, then you were being anti-Semitic. But the funny thing about you being anti-Semitic is to be a Semite is to be an Arab or a Jew. So everyone in the Middle East, they're Semites. The indigenous people of Palestine are Semites. So how are you going to be an anti-Semite to someone who's also a Semite? Doesn't make any sense, right? But they're using that because a lot of people aren't educated on this, right? So when people are like, oh, you're being anti-Semitic, I'm like, no, I'm not. Like that's not even it. Like I'm not hating on Jews at all, right? Or any countries that are opposed to whatever that was going on in that time. So, but during that time, of course, it was World War II. So World War II was happening. Hitler came to power. Britain was just like, hey, we are going to give Palestine to the Jewish people. We're gonna have a two-state solution. I believe it was part of like the Oslo Accords or something like that. Look it up. There's only so much I can explain in this podcast. So they told the government of Palestine, we're going to bring the Jewish people here, and Palestine was like, great. We love that we are having people come over here because they're being prosecuted. We want to help them, but the same thing that happened to
white people, man.
Yeah. You said it, not me. The same thing that happened to Native Americans when the Pilgrims came in. Same shit happened to the Palestinians, and slowly but surely, they developed the Israeli state. They then became militarized, got support from Britain, got support from America. They had money being sent over, weapons sent over. They started, subjecting like just atrocities to the people of Palestine to take their homes. They made a law stating that if a Palestinian voluntarily leaves their homes, that it's automatically Israel. That plot of land is now automatically Israel. So what would they do? They would forcibly remove them. They would either kill them, grape them. They would, just be violent, right? The government, right? They would then brainwash the people of Israel to think that Palestinians are terrorists. They would have propaganda against it. They'd be like, oh, these Palestinians want to kill you. When that was never the case. They just want their land back. And the first Nakba, which just means atrocity, was in 1948 when that land was being separated. They had they forcibly removed like hundreds of thousands of people, Palestinians, from their own homes, and that became Israel based on that law that is previously stated. And ever since then, they've just been slowly taking over until October 7, when Palestinians or when Hamas had enough. And they're like, fuck this, we're going to fight back. And unfortunately, the way that it happened, and there's still a lot of stipulation because apparently Netanyahu knew that this was going to happen, knew what day this was going to happen, who was going to attack.
There's a dome that shoots missiles out the sky. Of course they knew.
They have the intel. They have the weapons. They have everything from the US.
They can track
universal
weapons in
healthcare.
the sky, but you can't track weapons on the ground.
No, they're able to track everything. They know.
I know.
I know. Yeah, I know. But it's insane, right? So like now, and as unfortunate as to say this, if it weren't for this atrocity happening now, I think it's the perfect time for there to be this happening because now people know about it. Israel can now be held accountable because they went too fucking far, too fucking quick, right? They thought they had it all. They thought they could get away with it. And now they're realizing that they can't. Right, people are now realizing, and in the beginning, even my friends who didn't, and like a lot of people don't know about Israel and Palestine, right? Like I said, even before I took that course in college, I thought it was Muslims versus Jews. I thought like no one was the bad guy until I really knew what was going on, right? And even what I told you, that little bit is only a splash in the bucket. Of what of everything that's going on. Like I said, people being brainwashed within the Israeli citizens are being brainwashed to think that. Why do you think that they are going into the IDF from ages 16 to 18? What a perfect time to brainwash people with propaganda, no? Right? What a perfect time to tell you, these young teenagers, these people want to kill you, and you either kill them or you be killed, because that is what it means to be Israeli. Right? And can I even blame the citizens for thinking that? No, because the government brainwashed them, so I can't even blame them. Right? If we were brainwashed something, right? We've been brainwashed by the U.S. so many times, right? To believe something that isn't true. And then we realized that they're like, damn, we got got. Right, exactly. And that's a whole nother conversation. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to that propaganda. It's all about now it's a war of misinformation, right? Now you see on TikTok all these different perspectives. You're like, who do I believe? But then you're seeing that literal children are being killed every single day. I believe the death toll is above 30,000 now.
It's hard. Like I to be honest, I don't even really watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like the uncut coverage no more, because now
it's very
starting to show the kids dying from starvation. So they show like the before and after. And I just couldn't.
I mean, think about it this way. Like, you literally took 90% of Gaza Strip. They're in one city now. They were always told this is a safety zone, this is a safety zone, this is a safety zone. Now those safety zones are being bombed. And then now there's more than 1 million people in a very densely packed area. There's no food because you've destroyed the land, you've destroyed the farmlands, you've destroyed the crops, you've destroyed everything. You're putting in white phosphorus that's literally burning the people's skin alive. You're violating international law.
It's crazy, but it's the
And the U.S. is still like, oh, we're gonna veto this though.
because it's the U.S. It's the white people game plan.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Of course
like
it is.
9/11. We're gonna let this
Yeah.
atrocity happen. We're gonna let it happen, even though we can track every single plane and what they do. Can probably shut it off and remote control and
Right.
all that. We're gonna let them do this.
As an
So
excuse.
now we got free range to go over there and do whatever we want to do.
Exactly.
We don't really want them here at all. So
Right.
we're gonna let this attack happen. So
Right.
now we can really go in there and bomb hospitals and
Exactly.
let kids starve.
Exactly.
What hospitals and kids gotta do anything?
Exactly. Oh, whoa, Hamas is hiding where now? In the hospitals? Are they hiding behind the children? Like that
Prove it.
is irrelevant. And there's a lot of talks about Hamas being a whole terrorist group. Guess what? Israel funded Hamas just like how the U.S. funded the Taliban and funded Osama bin Laden.
Yep.
So to fight the Russians. All these power vacuums have been set in place is because of imperialism, either through Europe or through the U.S. Mainly through the U.S. now, especially with the Middle East conflict, has mainly been through the U.S. that all these power vacuums have been placed, and that's exactly what they want. They want turmoil. They want to use that turmoil. The U.S. wants to then use that turmoil of everything's going on as ammo to then be like, look at these countries, look how uncivilized they are.
And so they can be like, look, we're the heroes.
Right, we're the ones who caused it.
Right.
Right, like I said, I've been to
They
Morocco.
allowed it to happen.
And it's the
Allowed it
thing.
to happen.
I've been to Morocco. I've been to Egypt. I've been to Dubai. I've been to more.
Been to Dubai.
I've been to Dubai. I performed in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the World
That's
Trade
dope.
Center. And I was 18 when that happened. That was
Dubai?
slight. Yeah.
You see anybody walking around with a lion?
But the lion, no. Well, I had a falcon on my shoulder one time. That was cool. No one walking around with a lion. I wasn't at that part of Dubai.
Them niggas be wild, shorty.
I went to the Dubai Mall and there was like just Maseratis in Morocco, Egypt, and the way that those are more touristy locations. Sure, there's a lot of places I haven't been to, like that are like advertised from the U.S. as like uncivilized or barbaric or whatever. But just because one's customs and cultures are different than yours doesn't mean it's barbaric by any means. Doesn't mean that they don't have the capacity or knowledge to understand the other perspective, or just have knowledge in general, right? I think and a lot of Americans don't have passports. A lot of Americans don't have passports, and hey, I get it because like the
I don't
U.S.
consider myself American, but no, I ain't got.
Well, a lot of people born in the United States, right, don't have passports, and right.
Scared to leave the country. I ain't gonna lie to you.
But why is that?
Because of the propaganda.
Well, yeah. So fuck the propaganda. You know what they're saying is wrong. Just go somewhere, right? Like you can hey,
I want to say all of it's wrong.
not all of it is wrong, but
Like,
propaganda.
I eat the meat and spit out the bones.
What's up?
I eat the meat and spit out the bones.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watch these news coverage of things and stuff like that. Like,
I
if
mean-
it don't make sense, something like that shit don't make sense.
But you won't truly know unless you're there, right? And like I'll tell you this, like I had, if you're going to Eastern Europe and you are a brown or black individual, it's a no go, because like I had a
See, shit like that.
I had
If I didn't talk to you, I
Yeah.
wouldn't knew that. And I'd be like, man, I just want to go to Europe.
I mean, you can go to certain parts of Europe, but like you're going to be like
So when somebody call me a nigga, now I'm still on somebody, and they laws different. Now I'm in jail at a labor camp for 20 years because I stole somebody.
well, don't do that if you're there. That's maybe not do that. At that point, like I'll tell you this. So while I was going to I think it was Australia, or Egypt, either one. I had a layover in.
You been in Australia?
I went to Australia. I was in 2018. I'm about to go there again. 20.
What kind of unemployment you was? Oh, you said you got that severance too, though. So.
Well, all throughout my life, like I said, when I was working at the mall, I would work like 80 hours a week, and I just wouldn't spend it on dumb shit. So I would spend on traveling. I would just go anywhere.
Always solo?
Yeah,
So just different countries.
there's different countries. I mean, like I knew some people from Australia, and when you're meeting people throughout these
Right,
tours,
for sure.
you meet other people. Like when I went in Egypt, I met this guy from Australia, and I'm gonna see him in 2024 in November.
Now, my mom does that. She like a travel group, but they
Yeah.
do like inside the country, like different.
I mean, yeah, and so as I was saying, like Americans don't have passports because really they don't need it, because America is like Europe, right? Every state is its own country, damn near different terrain, right? Like Montana is so different than Illinois, right? Texas is so different from Florida. California is different than Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Everything's different, right? So you don't really need a passport in terms of the terrain, and like even though there could be different cultures within America, it's still kind of this, it's still the same umbrella. Whereas Europe is like different languages, different cultures, different customs, even the same amount of land, but there's a lot more differences, right, between each other, because they are different countries, right? So what I'm getting at is because people don't immerse themselves into the culture of other countries, or are too afraid, or too, they just don't, afraid of the unknown or the unfamiliar. It stops them from going, or even because of the propaganda, right? Unless you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to fucking Mexico and ball out at,
Right. But is that propaganda? I don't know if you've been to Mexico.
I haven't. I want to.
My mother's been 1 year. She went. They told her, a travel agent said, we're not booking trips to Mexico right now. The cartels, they're at war. Then I just seen something not too long ago on the news that, like, it's not a travel ban, but it's like a travel warning now in Mexico.
I mean, cartel definitely.
So is that propaganda? Well, I know the cartel isn't propaganda, but
to a certain extent. I mean, like, hey, if you go to any resort, most likely the cartel is involved, right? They're gonna probably sell drugs to the tourists, and the cops won't do anything.
Like the mob in Vegas,
right? They're just gonna be okay with it because unfortunately, and like, this is with little knowledge that I know about Mexico. Let's keep that in mind. This is what I've seen and heard. So definitely fact check me, and I'll definitely amend whatever things I'm saying that is wrong.
You definitely will.
From what I know,
witness of that.
Right. From what I've heard, to my knowledge, there are certain resorts that are linked with the cartel because it's just easier for the economy to flow. Of course,
built that motherfucker.
Right. And hey, like, look, if it stimulates the economy, and if a country's in a position where that's almost the only way, or that's one of the most effective ways per se, what can you do, right? Obviously, there's politicians within Mexico that are trying to stray away from that and build Mexico to what they want to be, or other countries like that too, right? But I'll go to La Ciudad de Mexico. I want to see it all, right? I'm brown too, so fuck it. Like, I can speak a little bit of Spanish. They might mistake me for a Mexican, low key. If I come out, if I come out saying more Spanish than English at that point. But there, of course, there's propaganda. But and of course, you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. But the only way you'll truly know is if you go there yourself and experience it, right? And 9 times out of 10, it'll be the best decision of your life. It'll, like I said, like I've been to 8 countries so far. So let's see: Australia, Dubai, Egypt, Morocco, Pakistan, Canada, the UK, and I think 7 countries. Then, unless I'm forgetting one. I've been to a lot of countries, and this is since I was 18 to now, and I've been blessed because, like I said, I just worked my ass off. I didn't have too many financial responsibilities when I was a teenager, other than fucking paying for my own food, or before my mom's strokes, right before I actually had that financial responsibility. I was just working my ass off to pay for music, right? Pay for studio time or whatever. And if I had more money, then I'm a fucking traveler. I'm a spend time with my friends or do new things that I want to do, right? I remember going to California one time for my birthday because I was just like, I'm gonna book my Airbnb, I'm gonna book my fucking plane ticket and this festival I'm going to. I was like, all right, I need $1,500. All right, I can work for 2 weeks straight, 7 days a week. 11 hours a day, and I'll get that, and I did.
I'll be the same way.
And it only takes 2 weeks.
I gotta go to work 6 days a week, 10 hours a day. But that week after those 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna take 2 days off. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely burnt out.
12 hours a day.
I mean, I don't have that stamina no more. Like when I was a teenager, I'm 26 now, but I did a lot of work back in the day. I'll tell you that.
That's another thing. When you got kids, you ain't got no choice, man.
That's true. That's true.
So, what I want to ask you before we run out of time, man, I want to ask you about the tips, man, like the tip videos I see you putting out,
the music business ones.
But I think it started, was banking the first one? Because
I do the financial tips and I also do the music business stuff.
So is it music and financial? Or is it just whatever tip you feeling for the day? Is
it's based off based off my degree with the music business. I talk about that, but I also talk about like my experience as a banker and my own experience with managing money and how to go from there. I mean, what kind of tips are you looking for?
No. What I was going to ask you is why do tips rather than, you know what I'm saying, keep that knowledge and just try to enhance, you know what I'm saying, everything that you got going on? Like, why take the time out to, because there's good productions as well, you know what I'm saying? Why take that time to give out knowledge instead of just, you know what I'm saying, building yourself up?
Well, two points to that. One, I don't like to gatekeep. Like I said, my name is Noor, right? I shine the light to people when there's darkness around. That includes financial literacy. That includes artists that don't know much about music business, right? I just genuinely want to help people be the best of who they can be, and if that requires knowledge for them to understand how things go, then I'll do it, right? But that doesn't mean that I'm not also able to enhance myself at the same time, right? It's a win-win situation. So when it comes to, like I said, gatekeeping for me is something that I don't do, simply because good karma's there, right? Like if you're going to spread this knowledge, that's going to come back to you tenfold, right? That might come back to me in different types of knowledge. That might come back to me in different types of good deeds. I hope so. Like if not, then hey, at least I'm trying to spread. At least I'm trying to be true to myself and spread the message that I've been saying to myself, or trying to have other people instill within themselves, right? If I release those floodgates of knowledge, and hopefully other people will do the same, and people will be better off together rather than being shisty or like being more individualistic and whatever it may be, right? Sure, it's a competition. There is a lot of competition within the music business, but like, hey, there's a level of confidence that one needs to have with their self-worth, knowing that even if I release this knowledge, that I'm not going to get fucked over by it. Like if someone else has that knowledge and they blow up, good on them. That they did exactly what they needed to do, right? I know I'm going to blow up. It's a matter of time, right? So for me, I'm not worried about giving this knowledge to other people, because they also deserve that, right? I want to build that community. And if they don't want to give back to me, I don't care, right? That's on them, right? But the people who do give back to me based on that, that's a win for me, right? That's something that I pride myself in when it comes to spreading this type of knowledge. I'm not going to keep it to myself just because I can, right? I feel like a lot of people have done that, and I think there's a generational shift in this world that's happening, where I feel like people want to be a part of a community. People want to have this relationship, but everyone's so distrustful of each other because they don't know others' intentions. And I'm also distrustful of other people. Like I said, I'm giving out all this knowledge. I know people see me as a high value individual, and that's someone they can really take advantage of if they really wanted to. But that goes back to me drawing my boundaries, not me not being a people pleaser anymore, me being very true to who I am, being affirmative to who I am, and knowing to not let people take advantage of me, but also not let that stop me from sharing this knowledge and giving my light to other people who deserve it, right? Or even if they don't deserve it, like I said, that's still good karma coming back to me. I know the universe is going to see that and be like, all right, he's doing what he needs to do. It doesn't matter what other people are doing, right?
Yeah, and it's not just, average knowledge. Like one thing I hate, like you actually got background in these fields that you're giving knowledge. And I hate when people like, especially podcasts, like you like got all the answers to like relationships. And I'm like,
sure.
Fuck up, sure. So with that being said, what I want to know is, with you having that knowledge, you could still give it away and put, make it an E-class and sell it. Why give it away for free? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, think about it this way. So I've gotten multiple opportunities to do guest speaking for my music business because of me posting those videos, because people didn't know that I knew this information. People didn't know until I started talking about it. So it's getting to that point where I am getting paid to discuss what I've been discussing, because what you're getting from my videos are little tidbits, right? They're little tidbits. It's more general. It's things that you can also search up on Google if you really wanted to. It's short form content that I'm just giving to you, so you don't have to go anywhere else for it. It's just easier to see. You see me, you know my face. You recognize who I am, and the information I'm giving you is straight. Then hey, there you go. You don't have to go on Google anymore. I did it for you, right? Like I use my background, and obviously, if you graduate in 2019, there's a lot of things that changed in the music industry, so you got to do your own research too. But there's opportunities that have come because I've started this, and I also do one-on-one consulting, which is more elaborate on where that artist is in their path, in their journey. What their music sounds like, what their branding is, and how I can elevate them specifically, right? Because everything, like I said, is very short form. It's very general. You can get a good amount out of it, but you won't get everything out of it if it's not a one-on-one with me, right? So that could bring more opportunities for consultations and things like that. So it's a win-win situation, quite honestly.
All right. Okay. For sure. Dope, man. So before I get you up out of here, I just want to know, when you came the first time, you had that dope track running with you. I just want to know, how did that end up doing what you're working on right now as far as the music, what's coming up as far as the music, or just an overall synopsis or where your music career is right now.
So running got like 15,000 streams. I really didn't do much with it. I like playlisted it to Submit Hub. I think someone saw it from Submit Hub, or like I got playlisted, but I know I didn't get that many streams from the playlist from them. I figured someone went on that playlist and was like, "Oh, this is a dope song," and they put it on their playlist, and that shit just took off. 50,000 streams is still a decent amount, you know.
That's nice, man.
Yeah, I was really happy. That shit came out of nowhere. I only spent
I
100.
don't even look at streams and views. I look at them as people.
Yeah, yeah,
50,000 people. That's a lot.
yeah. 15. But
15. That's a lot.
it's still a lot. It's still a
Imagine
lot.
if
That's
they-
five
if them
figures.
15 people can come to a concert.
You know what's the general statistic? If you have more than 1,000 streams on your song, you're doing better than 90% of artists on Spotify.
True.
Go on Google. Or 85%. Either way, I did well above 1,000 streams. So I did a run-in. You know, I released Recluse back in March of last year. I actually have the music video for Recluse coming out March 24th, 2024, to celebrate the 1 year anniversary. So that might be out by the time this comes out. If you want, we can definitely link that onto the description.
Oh, you know that.
But I have
running on that too.
no, for real. Hey, might as well. Got the music video for that too. I'm being that I'm, you know, focused on my authenticity, being that I'm focused on my journey when I was discovering myself again in Morocco. I've been making more music that's tailored to that. I actually sent you an email. This song's gonna come out May 3rd. I hope May 3rd, first second week of May of 2024. It's called Lightwork. Might be later on. I don't know. It depends. I'm doing a whole radio campaign for it, but I still gotta register it.
What? Oh, because you waiting on everything to clear and stuff.
Yeah.
Distro? Okay.
Yeah. I'm using the Orchard, so I got, you know, a whole lot of planning, but should be out by May. But it's called Lightwork because it's a typical. The whole song is just on draw. It's just bars. 4 minutes of bars. Lightwork itself is a triple entendre. My name is Noor. Lightwork. This shit to me is light work, and I'm a light worker, right? I'm a light worker, like spiritually. You know, if you know what I'm talking about, you know, if you know, you know, right? So that's a triple entendre right there and there, just in the title. If you want to play that shit, you're more than welcome to. I sent you the email.
Yeah, we're going.
Yeah, we go check.
When you say the video drop?
For Recluse drops on March 24th. I've yet to make a video for Lightwork, but that should be coming out during the summer. But I got a ton of stuff. I got another song with Marco Stats. He featured on my track called Popstar. That's gonna come out in the summer. That's gonna be my baby. If you see that, you might see me blow up from that song low key. I'm not gonna lie to you. So fingers crossed with that. I think that's the one. Knock on wood.
Real quick, what goes behind, you know what I'm saying, with a song that you feel like is the one, you know what I'm saying? I know a lot more goes into, you know what I'm saying, when you feel like you got that one. Real quick, what goes into a song once you feel like it's the one? What extra work goes into it?
I mean, it's always just a gut feeling. You know, there's a lot of tracks. A lot of artists say like, "Oh, the tracks they weren't expecting blew up." Right, and for me that was Running. I didn't know that shit was gonna blow up. I thought Recluse was gonna blow up more than Running.
Same project overall.
Right.
Running was I don't know if it was because I was did the performance and I was just playing it back to back, but
that shit got some views too. I looked at in the booth. Yeah,
I probably like if you play it, I could probably reword it word for word.
And it's catchy, and that's the thing, right? Like if you're looking at a song commercially speaking, right? If you want to like sell out in a way too, like be more commercial with it, you can still be integral to who you are as an individual, but still be like catchy and have the commercial feel of a song that blows up on charts for the most part, right? I feel like Popstar, I mean, like the title itself is called Popstar. You know what I'm saying? Like it's very commercial. The hook is really catchy. There's, you know, different dynamics within the verses. There's, you know, it follows a certain formula. I don't know if it's truly gonna make me blow up. I just have a feeling, you know. I'm gonna put money behind it to make sure, you know, I'm gonna put a decent amount of money behind it, you know, for PR, for radio, for, you know, for playlists.
What type of budget goes behind a song that you believe in?
I mean, like I might
no budget.
So like Recluse, for example, or Running, for example, I'll probably put in like for everything, music video, marketing, submitting to playlists for Summit Hub. Everything was like not that high of a budget, like maybe like, and recording the song itself maybe like $2,000-$3,000. And you know what? That is a lot for
double that,
huh?
So is this gonna be double? Oh no,
might be like quadruple that.
Okay.
For Popstar, I might quadruple that shit. Like I might do like a $3,000 PR campaign. I might do like a $1,500 radio campaign. Spend like another $1,000 on playlisting. You know, different digital like money to like do digital marketing. But this is the thing, like you like Noor, how like where do I go to? Like, all right, that's a lot of money, but like who do I even go to for that, right? That's where the one-on-one consultation comes in, right? So, because you got to know, like, let's say you have $10,000 to spend on a project or a song, you got to know how to divvy that up, right? And not a lot of artists know how to like go about that. Like, oh, I have this much money, but like, how do I use it, right? But Popstar, like I said, I'm gonna put a lot of money behind. Gonna make sure the split sheets are good. Gonna make sure that everything works out the way it needs to. And fingers crossed, you might see me on the top 100 billboards. We're gonna see what's up.
Performing in Dubai again.
No, for real. We're gonna start from in the booth and go to the Madison Square Garden type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Walking the Lions this time.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, I'm gonna be in Dubai walking the Pumas and the Lions, bro.
Man, for sure, man. So I definitely appreciate your time, man. Before you get out here, is there anything that you want to, you know what I'm saying, relate to your fans, your followers, or anybody who may be seeing or watching you for the first time?
Shine your light. If don't be discouraged by other people. Be your true authentic self. If you feel like you know who you are, question that. Make sure you actually know who you are rather than what you think people want you to be.
I like that.
Right? You might be stuck into a place where I know who I am, but it's like but it's really like the perception that people have upon you and that you are then trying to uphold. Be who you are. If you're afraid to say something, if you're afraid to do something, then you're not being your true authentic self. Obviously don't be an asshole, right? But like that, don't also let people walk all over you, right? Yeah, don't let people walk all over you. Be true to who you are, and if people don't like that, they can go fuck themselves. That's my message.
For sure.
Shine your light.
I fuck with it, man.
Appreciate you,
Appreciate
man.
your time, man. That's the most
Thank
valuable
you.
thing we got, man. If you could, before you get up out of here, let the people know where they can find you on social media, where they can find the music, where they can find the music tips, where they can find the financial tips, all that good shit.
Everything, if you just go on my Instagram, music by Noor, Noor, you'll see my link tree on the bio. You'll see, if you go on my Reels section, you'll see all the music business stuff I've done. You can personally message me. You can go on my Spotify, my Apple Music through that link tree. Everything will be on that link tree. So you're more than welcome to see it. If you go on my Instagram, that's where you'll find everything. If you want to go on my YouTube to find the Recluse or the Running music video, hopefully that'll also be on the description. We'll definitely get that shit popping.
For sure, man. Definitely.
Thank you for having me here, though.
You know that, man.
Yeah.
Can't wait to have you back because we need to have we can have a conspiracy conversation if you down.
We could have tons of conversations.
We can talk about a whole episode about 9/11.
My ass got ADHD. We could talk about whatever.
World War II.
Yeah, for real.
Jews and Hitler. We can talk about all that, man. So I appreciate your time. I look forward to
it.
that, man. And that's a wrap, man. In a minute, gang.
Let's get it.
All right.
When I lost my dog to the streets, it ain't no beef. They wings, watch the shit, who you gon' call it? Ain't no